Welcome to Disconnecting from the Matrix, where the release is from within. Hello there. Thanks for tuning in. I'm your host, Alice Kim, and this is episode 14 titled Questions for a New Reality. Are you bored, unfulfilled, or even totally fed up with your life? Would you like more happiness, laughter, peace, and lightness in your world? If you really want to experience more joy and freedom in your life, you're going to have to change your mind about what you think and believe about it, because how you choose to see your life is also how your life will be shown to you. So today I'll share with you a few short and simple questions that will help you to first clear out the mind clutter from the thought trash that's clogging up the pipes and making it hard for you to connect with your essence. Then we'll start to set up a new vantage point from which to reconfigure and reorient the way you want to see your life so that that begins to appear as the new reality for you. Sound good? Before we start with the questions, I want to make a comment about how consciousness and mind play into the matrix. You are consciousness, and where your consciousness goes, there you are. And currently, you're stuck in the matrix. And you're stuck in the matrix because you're stuck in your mind. The matrix, the reality that you think you live in, is a virtual reality created by you. Consciousness, mistaking yourself for mind. And as the light of your consciousness looks at mind as itself, it then creates the projection that appears as things, events, and circumstances in your life. Your mind is the matrix. It's the blueprint of your reality. And the thoughts and beliefs that make up your mind are the building blocks or the raw materials that create the actual structures of your reality. So if you're not in love with what's going on in your reality, there is only one way to change that, and that's to change what's in your mind. Now granted, creating a new matrix, albeit something that works better for you, is not the way to ultimate liberation. True liberation is a total and final release from the matrix, the illusion of the mind. Let's not mistake a happier life in the matrix for ultimate freedom. Because an illusion, no matter what it looks like, is still an illusion. But it's very difficult, if not nearly impossible, for most of us to jump from limited consciousness to full-blown enlightenment overnight. And when that happens, the universe will disappear because it will have been transcended. But until we uncover that state of total freedom as us, I think you'll agree that it's more than appropriate to learn how to deprogram and reprogram the matrix to uplift ourselves to higher understanding and realization. After all, that's what the matrix is here for, to help you return to self. Questions are great because they create an opening for something new. Our lives appear to be the way they are because we've bought into certain beliefs that made them so. And once you believe something, you've made up your mind on that thing. And that's when the questioning stops and you declare a thing to be so. Once you make up your mind and choose one potential over all the other infinite possibilities, you fragment reality and solidify that specific point of reference as the only reality for you. And that's what quantum mechanics refers to as the quantum multiverse hypothesis. There's a short PBS video that illustrates this, and I'll include it on the episode page if you're interested. Just go to disconnectmatrix.com/podcast/14. But forget quantum mechanics for a second and all that stuff and just look at your own life experience. Have you ever questioned a belief you held and then ended up changing your position? And what happened to your reality after that? Did it or did it not change? Okay, now on to the questions. The first question is, so what? So what is a fabulous way to release the stronghold of mind fixation. Every time you apply so what to any thoughts that you notice, it makes you see right away how meaningless and immaterial they are. This is especially great for getting in the habit of seeing past thoughts and judgments for what they are, pesky nothings, and dismissing them on the spot. So what? It's such a great way to declutter and silence all the endless chatter going on in your mind. Oh, I like this, I like that. Oh, that's good, that's bad. Why is this happening? Why is this not happening? Shut up! That's what I usually say to my mind. Passing thoughts are totally useless, and all they do is clutter and pollute the space of your stillness, your presence. Think of your mind as your home, and the streets outside and all the rest of the public spaces, think of them as shared collective mind. Now think of passing thoughts as garbage that someone else littered that you pick up from the streets. Or maybe you go dumpster diving in other people's garbage bins and actively look for something you can take. But whatever the case, you pick up someone else's mental garbage, mental baggage, and bring it back to your own house because for whatever reason you think it has some value for you. That's all the stuff that you get fed from quote-unquote out there, from parents, teachers, friends, church, the news, Facebook, whatever. I'm not saying they're all garbage, but for the most part, a huge chunk of it anyway, is a bunch of mental babble that's not yours, not true, and just a bunch of space garbage. So what? It's such a great way to dismiss passing thoughts that aren't yours so that you can clear away the junk that you've been hoarding from outside you. They're like millions of text messages, mental junk, moving through space that you catch with your mind and then you think it's coming from you. Whenever you catch yourself immersed in mind chatter, ask of those thoughts, so what? And then just laugh it off and be done with it. Make it into a habit, and soon enough, you won't even need to ask anything. You'll just know to let the thoughts pass through, and you won't get hooked as quickly as you used to. And if you do get hooked, you now have an option to unhook yourself. This unhooking, it does more than free you from mind congestion. It also frees you from time. It unhooks you from the grip of past and future and brings you back to now. And now is the only state that can bring about a new reality because thoughts only throw you around between past and future. The less thoughts you have in the space of your presence, the more you consciously connect with consciousness. And as you are the consciousness that creates realities, you can now direct it to enjoy the reality of your truth and choosing. So the next question that's helpful to ask is, why not? So what is great for dismissing passing thoughts to quickly clear away mind chatter so that you can connect back to the stillness of presence and return to the now. In the clarity of the now, you can then begin to make new choices to bring upon new realities. It's like cleaning out your closet to get rid of all the stuff that you don't wear, that no longer fit you, and is just plain out of style. So that's so what? The next question, why not, is fantastic for challenging more heavily ingrained thoughts and beliefs that hold you back in limitation. All the I can't, I won'ts, and I am nots. Everything that you want, but you don't have, has to do with I can't and I won't, which is pretty much the same thing. And if you drill down to the core, it's really about I am not. Or in other words, a sense of self-lack or a lack of self-worth. Ask yourself anything that you'd like to be, do, or have in your life and just observe the litany of all the whys. The why you can't, the why you won't, and why you're too old or too young or too this or too that to have it. In its own twisted way, the ego makes you feel kind of special for having your particular limitations, and then it makes you feel almost proud to not be able to do or have what you want. Because no matter how much you don't like your life, that's who you believe you are. And cute little ego wants to hold on and defend its identity no matter how miserable it is. Why? Because if you weren't all that you believe you are, then who the hell are you? Better to have an identity than to not have one at all, I suppose, is how the logic goes. So with every one of those very special lame excuses that come up after asking, why not? Now ask the next question, truth? Now, if you're honest with yourself and not totally unconscious, simply asking truth will give you an answer right away. And any statement where you're fighting for and defending your limitations will always return a negative response. Asking, why not, is crucial because you need to first see all the reasons why you believe in your limitations so that you can then challenge them and see that they were never real. You see, some people may be aware enough to see the whys to their limitations and lack, but most will stop right there because they see and accept their self-imposed limitations as the very edge of a reality that they can't go beyond. If you would simply inquire the truth will indeed set you free. It'll tell you that you can express and expand and be more of who you are at any moment. But knowing that the door has never been closed to new realities isn't enough to change anything, sorry to say. Yes, the door has always been wide open. But as always, it's up to you to make the choice to step through. And that's the hardest part, your willingness to accept the price of freedom. And that's the unknown frontier called change. You see, most people talk a good talk about wanting change. But when it comes down to it, they don't really want it. They're scared shitless of change. So the mind's conflicted with one foot on the gas and one foot on the brake. And what happens? Nothing. Just more of the same. Just more of the same equals indecision. So what's it gonna be? Do you really want joy, freedom, and peace? Or do you not? And if you don't, ask yourself, why not? And whatever answers come to you, ask of it truth. If you've made the decision to create your reality, the next question is, what's next? Here's the thing. Now that you've decided, it's already done. And what's even better than that is that there's nothing more you need to do except to allow the next steps, the opportunities to come to you. Really, they just come to you. Your only job now is to look out for the opportunities that come your way and asking yourself, what's next? Well, turn up your radar in active anticipation of all the things that present themselves to you. Remember earlier I said that we do the very opposite by closing in on one point, one particle called a belief, and that shuts down all the other possibilities? Well, by asking what's next, what's possible, what else is there, you now open yourself up to infinite options to choose from. Keep requesting. Show me what's next. Show me what's possible. And when the next step, the next gift arrives at your door, what do? You simply open the door and receive it. And as you unwrap the gift to see what's inside, you'll be guided to act according to what feels appropriate. Continue to allow and receive and act. If that's what feels right, you might not even have to act at all. But continue to allow and receive the gifts that show up at your door, and before you know it, you'll find yourself in a new reality full of all the gifts that you wanted. And the marvelous part of it all is that you would now see that all the gifts you're experiencing now has always been here for you, but you never chose to see them. They were all waiting at your doorstep, yet you never thought to open the door and receive them. Enjoy your creations. Enjoy the gifts you give yourself. They're all there, ready to knock at your door, to present themselves to you. If you would but ask it to simply come forth. So what's next? What's possible? What would you like to create? The world, the matrix, is your oyster. And whether you make it work for you or against you is really just a matter of choice. The choice between choosing your I am or your I am not. So here's the final question. What do you choose? There's my call. I'm Alice Kim, and thanks for listening. Leave me a comment on how you create and uncreate your reality by going to disconnectmatrix.com/podcast/14. That's disconnectmatrix.com/podcast/14. And while you're there, please subscribe to my email list so we can stay in touch. Also, if you're on iTunes and are enjoying this show, please consider giving it a favorable rating and review for the benefit of future listeners. To contact me directly, my email is alice@disconnectmatrix.com. I welcome all your questions, comments, and any feedback that you have. Thanks again for joining me. Until next time.